Hey there, everybody. P. Pardo here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Cover, inside a Marvel magazine cover, right? So we've done quite a few of these in the past. Today we're going to take a look at the inside of a magazine I picked up real recently. If you watched one of my recent little hauls there that we did when Kirk and I went to Zap Comics down in New Jersey, in Wayne, New Jersey, we're going to take a look at one of those that I picked up, which is The Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian. Issue number 6. The Lurkers Below, 2 illustrated epics of swords versus sorcery. So this is issue number 6. This was published in 1975. All right, so let's take a look at this wonderful little piece of black and white goodness here. All right, we've got on the inside, we have what they call the frontispiece. This is drawn by Don Newton. I think the art is really good. I don't like the way Conan is depicted here because he looks like he's like 80 years old. Not quite liking that too much. But otherwise, the artwork in general is really cool. So here's a table of contents. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sections of this magazine. Roy Thomas, editor. Stan Lee presents. Marv Wolfman and Len Wein, the consulting editors. Jerry Conway and Archie Goodwin, the associate editors. Lenny Groh, production. Barbara Altman and Nora Macklin, design. John Romita and Dan Atkins, art directors. Staff and such: Dave Kraft, Michelle Wolfman, Duffy Voland, Howard Bender. Technical advisor Glenn Lord. Cover Alex Nino and Frank Magsino. Frontispiece Don Newton, like I mentioned, and the inspiration, of course, Robert E. Howard, who was the Conan author, right? But how about that cover, right? That's really quite fetching there. And this is in really good shape. I paid, how much did I pay for this? $6. $6. Can't beat that. And probably with my little bit of discount I got from Zap, maybe even take off 50 cents or $1 off of that. And so, yeah, you really can't go wrong there. So let's take a look. So the main story here is, of course, the sleeper beneath the sands, not the lurkers below, right, as it's kind of mapped out on the front. So here we got a little map of the Hyborian age. Okay, as depicted by Robert E. Howard. And there you have the sleeper beneath the sands. All right, of course, the great artwork here of, what did I just say that was Sonny Trinidad. And the story is written by Roy Thomas. So here, basically how it starts off, he's got this guy, this dude out in the desert with his horse. He is barely surviving here, right? He's just dying of the heat. I'm amazed his horse looks so fresh, and as he's kind of collapsing there in the sun, of course the vultures are stirring about. This guy's name happens to be Olgerd Vladislav. All right, so he actually is kind of on the run because he was actually in charge of a big group of army of warriors, and actually he was usurped by Conan. Conan took them over, and he was kind of like cast out, right? So he's kind of probably got a little revenge on the mind, right? So here he is trying to fend off the vultures that are coming in, right? He fends off a couple, but then he's so parched, he's so exhausted. So he's kind of laying there for dead, waiting for the birds to pick his eyes out and start, snacking on him. When then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of the vultures gets hit with an arrow. Here you got this other group here who come in. You got a lady there and her father. All right, so the father's name, let's get everything here for you here. The lady's name is Dhira, D-H-I-R-A, and the father's name, what is the father's name? I don't remember. His name is Ahmed Mullah. Okay, so he is, I guess, the king, right, the leader, and she's his daughter. So what they do is they pick up this guy, and they bring him back to wherever they are kind of camping out, right? They bring him back from the dead, pretty much, right? Because he was near death there. And he starts muttering Conan's name, and then he quickly checks himself. He's like, I don't want to give them too much information. I don't know who these people are. He tells them his name is Ifan, right? Doesn't give him his real name. Say that he was a part of Conan's group. He can't wait to reconnect with them. Somehow he got separated from them, and he's trying to find his way back to them, right? Because Conan, my friend, my leader, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, not really, right? So they're believing his whole story, and then of course. Kind of continue on, and the other guy, the leader, the king there, tells his story, and about where they're going, and they're going to this land of the sleep, right? The one who sleeps beneath the sands. They're actually traveling to this place where they have to do this ritual to stop the entity that comes out if you don't give them like a sacrifice type of thing. Bad things will happen. So this is something they do every year. And this Ethan guy, right, who was really not him, he says, I'll recuperate with you and I'll travel with you, and hopefully we can reconnect with Conan at some point. So along the way, he's feeling much better. Of course, he starts making advances on the daughter, right? And she kind of rebuffs him, and he's just like, hey, thinking to himself, where I come from, any woman that kind of stops me from doing what I want to do with them, I'd probably kill them, right? So he's thinking, but I gotta bide my time here, right? So he checks himself, and then of course someone from Conan's camp who is out kind of like scoping out the land, they come into the camp, and then he recognizes this dude, and what does he do? He's got to kill him, right? Because he can't tell him who he really is. So he kills the guy. All right, and then that's when he figures out that he's found out, right? So then the king is like, what's going on here? What's going on here? He's like, what did you do? You can't be killing people like that. So he actually goes and kills the king, and he goes to take the daughter hostage, right? So there's all this stuff going on here. This guy is not a good dude by any means. And of course, who comes strolling in on his horse fairly soon after is Conan. And of course, the rest of them, they get ordered to capture Conan because, of course, this guy has got the daughter, right? Who's, I guess, the princess, so to speak, got her captured, so they don't want her killed. So they're kind of doing his bidding. So what they do is they kind of go after Conan. He starts killing a bunch of them, but of course the numbers game is too much. So they clock him in the back of the head. They take control of him and they tie him up with 2 pillars, right? So he understands what's happening here. He sees him and he goes, Olgerd, Vladislav, because now he knows. So, right, so he's basically, I'm going to have revenge on what you did to me, and so he's saying he's going to cut Conan, right? And she's like, after what you did to my father, what are you trying to do, right? So there's this whole conversation that's going on between the 3 of them. Meanwhile, in comes the Turanians, okay? So the battle ensues here. All this time, so they were supposed to do this whole ritual thing, right? I told you about the creature, right? That they have to do this ritual so bad shit doesn't happen. Well, it looks like they're a little late on doing all that. So as you can see, all sorts of stuff is going on. Conan's trying to break free so he can kind of like help himself here, based on what's happening, because the sleeper is awakening, right? So then he gets into a fight with his nemesis. All right. Finally, he gets knocked out, so Conan goes to save the girl. Right, as he's doing so, there's like big cracks in the earth are breaking up. It's like an earthquake happening, so there's all this shit happening. And of course, the reason why that is happening is because there is the sleeper. Right? Really cool artwork. The sleeper has indeed awakened, or awoke, however you want to say that. So then they got to battle the creature. He's got tentacles all over the place. So Conan, of course, does what needs to be done, because Conan the Cimmerian, he is quite the warrior, as you can see. And of course, in all this, the bad guy gets destroyed, as you would hope, right? And Conan finds a way to make the sleeper retreat. He hops on the horse and takes off. End of story, right? So here, got some cool ads. Monster masks and things. All these great ads in these. And then you have, Gods of the Hyborian Age, the home of the gods. So here you've got some like editorials and things, which like Bill so rightfully said in another episode we did of some of these Marvel mags, is that, when you were a kid, you saw the editorial stuff. I mean, we never read any of this. You read it now and it's pretty cool. But back in the old days, this was just way too intense and too much words for like a 6, 7, 8-year-old to possibly digest or even want to. It's all about the picture stuff. And then we got another one here. Can any good thing come out of Samaria? Okay, some more editorials here. And again, a lot of this explains more of the kind of history and the saga of Robert E. Howard's great works. Then we have another story, okay, which is called People of the Dark, which this is pretty interesting, actually. It's got some really, really great artwork. And who actually draws this? Let me see if I can get that information to you. Maybe it says in the front. Hold on. Adapted by Roy Thomas and Alex Nino. So Alex Nino actually did the artwork, so he's the same guy who helped draw the cover. And so this is based on some works of Robert E. Howard, all right, where you've got Richard Brent is kind of like the main character here, but in essence, was he Conan in another life? So here he meets up with this woman, right? It's kind of almost like an Adam and Eve type of thing. There's a lot of dialogue here and a lot of stuff to kind of take in, but he kind of like falls into this hole, and then all of a sudden he finds that he is Conan, right? So again, it's almost like there's time travel here or some kind of like alternate universe type of thing. So Richard Brent actually realized he's actually Conan. Go figure. And look at this splash page. Look at that. That's pretty amazing. Again, so I love this black and white art. It's really, really well done. So then we've got all of a sudden battles are going to be happening and whatnot. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole story here, but once again, Conan's trying to rescue a damsel in distress, and there's always obstacles because that's what it's all about, right? Let's see. Yeah, look at this. Look at that art. It wouldn't be a Conan story without Conan entering some like ancient like crypt or some sort of whatever you call it, altar of something or other, right? And then you got all these like kind of creatures below the surface, all right, who are attacking him. So I guess this is the lurkers below, right? So yeah, so People of the Dark. Okay, so my mistake. So the cover is not actually depicting the first story. It's depicting the second story. So the lurkers below. So here, like I said, he's in some kind of like below the earth place, and there's this whole race of kind of creatures down there. There you go. Look at that. Yeah. This one's pretty bloody. And eventually, right, so he's trying to save. In the end, he winds up not being able to save this lady, right? As you can see, she kind of falls into the abyss, as does everybody else. And at the end, he finds Conan's all alone. So everything he tried to do just did not happen. All right. And then as the story kind of unfolds, all of a sudden, Conan is all by himself. He winds up falling and falling and falling, and then he wakes up and he's Richard once again, or I'm sorry, Jim O'Brien, or Richard, whatever his name is. So it's kind of a strange story, but there's lots of action going on. Okay, then you got more creatures towards the end. Pretty cool stuff. I found a lot of this Conan related, all the Robert E. Howard stuff is just absolutely amazing. You got some more things, belt buckles, classic monsters, Planet of the Apes, models. I had a bunch of those. Here's the Treasury edition right over there, and here you got some of the freaks. Right, used to see these ads all the time. Next issue, Citadel at the Center of Time, Savage Sword of Conan. Kung Fu, will your next job be never finished high school? Now you can go finish. Why not? So there you have it, everybody. Inside the cover of another great Marvel magazine, The Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian, number 6 from 1975. If you've got this one, let us know what you think of it. Scott Berry, I know you got this one, so maybe you can talk a little bit about it down in the comments below. And visit us soon, because we'll be coming at you with more content. Getting together with Bill this coming weekend or Monday, so we'll have some more videos of the two of us coming forward. You might get another one this weekend from me, another maybe Savage Sword of Conan, because I do have another one I want to show and talk about, so that'll be coming up. So stay tuned. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave us. So thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. We'll see you soon with more content, so take care. Bye-bye.